Hello, this is in YouTube, and welcome to another episode of my Rebel Ink Let's Play. This is Northstar. For those new to my channel, welcome. Train folks, welcome back. Just checking out the weekly challenge here. Think about for a second if I want to do this. You guys can see all the features, hopefully. I upload this in HD, so I'm guessing this is readable, I hope. I could actually upload even a higher resolution. Some have even said that YouTube gives 1440p video, which I'm capable of doing. Higher bandwidth when uploads, so maybe it would even be faster, but 720, 1080 is actually 1080 is what I upload in. Though I personally watch stuff in 720. I don't know as much of a difference. Is fast enough with uploads. I don't know. Maybe I should do it if there are a few viewers, who like the 1440, watch YouTube on their TV screen, but on a little phone screen or even computer, it rarely makes a difference. Although, I guess my computer is capable of it being noticeable. If I make it full screen anyhow. Let's see. Arm supporters, increase stability in stable zones. Sniper support, deficits funding. Ooh. Violent ambushes, so you can't extend coalition troops too much. And split and run. Yeah, ceaseless forklift. I'll give it a shot before I go do a mega brutal map, or probably get my ass kicked. Cerulean Dam. So it's the Zur Dam. Also, development director is the governor for the weekly challenge this week on standard. I could do the brutal one, but they're harder usually. Excuse me. None of the actual dam events are normally active. So there's two places to put HQ: in the biggest city so that you'll stabilize it faster, or bordering zones that you're going to have trouble holding but need to. Not sure I can hold that. It's real close to the red and with the split and run. But I can probably hold these mountains. The mountains are hard. So an HQ here can reinforce that. I hate that you can't save on weekly challenges, but I guess it's to prevent save scumming. Cool. $5. Yeah, it's only one extra versus waiting for inflation to come down. And universal justice right at the beginning. $7. Yep. It's very resistant. I think it's immune to inflation, actually. Experts, these are always $7 as well. Wow, this only went up 1 with all this inflation. Yeah, grab international assistance right off the bat then. And hire experts. Actually, they need funding to roll out stuff. Well, no, actually, I can go into deficit funding for unofficial procurement. Once they're on the map, it takes a second for them to come available, so no reason to do it any earlier than that. Stabilize the HQ zone. Nice and early. Time for unofficial procurement. So for those new to my channel, as I said, welcome. Training folks, welcome back. Yep, they're doing water treatment plants out of time. I wonder, that's sanitation 1. I wonder if that'll make sanitation 1 cheaper. Inflation comes down a little, I'll find out. Right. So what's my mind? I guess this is thematic. Still $4. I'll wait. J.D. Vance, the President of the United States right now when I'm recording this, and probably still, unless, well, Trump dies of a heart attack, then he might be president or something by the time this posts. That prick. Anyways. I don't know if this came down to $3 because of depletion of water reservoir or it was because of inflation coming down. He said that but by which he meant Republicans, he's not thinking of the good of the country, need to, quote, depathicize the left. Now, this is a game where I'm sure some of you actually know what that means. The United States, after invading Iraq, carried out political purges. That term is often abused when, say, talking about the Soviet Union to give the implication of mass killing as propaganda. And some people who were purged were killed, but technically just means moving from a party or a group or power. And when the U.S. debathized, it didn't go around killing all the Baathists in Iraq. But what it did do is, well, yeah, this is going to be stuck at $4 regardless. You know what? Let's do this immediately. What it did do was remove Baathists who were part of a kind of a weird, wouldn't qualify as Marxist-Leninists or even Marxist really, but quote Islamic socialist, a authoritarian, really kind of a center-left, but economically pretty far left, but politically pretty far right party. That was the party of Saddam Hussein. They did have some state-owned industries, which would be socialism, except for they still really had a bourgeois in Iraq, so really it was state capitalism, which is what people often accuse China of being, but it's not accurate with China. It was accurate with Iraq. On the other hand, it was a government that also took ambiguous politics during the Cold War, so that maybe it could have gotten support from either side, although it did actually receive help from the United States against Iran. You see my Crisis in the Kremlin Let's Play series, there's an event where Iraq can end up becoming pro-US if you support Iran, or not if you don't, which I think historically Soviets didn't support Iran then, but then later during the Iran-Iraq War, the US gave Iraq weapons, logistical support weapons in their war against Iran. This is a repeating motif. The United States creates an enemy and then attacks it later. We did it with Al-Qaeda, which the United States funded the creation of to fight the Soviets. The US did it with Iraq. I mean, these groups both existed, but the US funded their expansion. Oh shoot, I didn't quite get for this to come down. Okay, well I don't have time to wait for inflation. Okay, both water things are done, so I can't see if the cost came down, but I suspect it didn't because it was done with the corruption, the unofficial procurement. Grab water expansion as soon as comes down to $3. I need coalition troops. They're not affected by inflation, though they do affect inflation. But yeah, anyways, enough about what the term debathization means. The point is that the Vice President of the United States was talking about political purges of his enemies from the government, including from government jobs that are supposed to be merit-based and have nothing to do with your political views. This is, of course, one of the death knells of democracy in the US, or the sorry excuse for it that existed. Let's grab interpreters and guides now, so I don't set too many people in Delta Romeo. Got money and I have high inflation. Let's do surveillance drones. Maybe I don't overinvest in it, just do a level for, well, intel. Remote specialists. Yeah, I might need those in national troops, actually. go here for a tiny bit. Increase intel. Let's see, other things. I've seen some discussion on the internets about I need the national troops nice and early. I delayed it a little because the corruption is already affecting my support, I think. Oh, not very much. Not normal, I guess. About, well, SNAP benefits being cut, and some people were discussing how Republican, well, Fox News is like, oh, why are people 300 pounds getting SNAP? There's discussion of whether being overweight is a choice and whether people need food. And of course, people need food. They need healthy food, and you need nutrients besides just calories. It is true that being overweight means you got excess calories just hang on you as fat. And your body can cash in on those if you run a caloric deficit. That's why fat exists, so humans can survive food shortages, which is literally what cutting SNAP is technically being, is a man-made food shortage. Sit there and criticize the Soviets about supposedly creating man-made food shortages, and well, not supposedly, since it actually, like the Holodomor, that was caused by corrupt, racist local officials. It's sometimes blamed on the central government, but the decision was actually carried out at the level of local NKVD agents. That's the progenitor of the KGB that existed back then, and just normal police abusing their power. And there was directives. There was a not great harvest, which shouldn't have been enough to cause a famine on its own, because corruption here. Base crop yields were high enough that there shouldn't have been any starvation just based on that. But the Soviet Union was exporting food because the British had them under sanctions, essentially. The British Empire was, of course, the leading world empire at this time. Not yet. The US hadn't risen to that position as of yet in history. And the British had the Soviets under sanctions where they wouldn't allow them to purchase needed industrial machinery because they were worried that they were going to suffer a European invasion, which they were correct. The Nazis, that happened not much longer. So they were buying machinery, and they were only allowed to buy machinery with food, timber, or metals. They were not allowed to buy it with gold because the British unilaterally declared that the gold reserves had been taken from Tsarist Russia were stolen, and that the Soviet people didn't have any right to use them, or Soviet government. And so they were exporting food, somewhat bad harvest. They stubbornly maintained food exports, which created a bad situation. And then there was a policy to try and make sure that food was efficiently utilized and export quotas were met. And there wasn't starvation in the industrial cities to confiscate food from rural villages and prevent hoarding. Which, it'd be like, people remember the pandemic, people hoarded toilet paper, people were hoarding food. But this is where the racism came in that led to a famine genocide, is the some of the local officials started confiscating all the food when if I remember correctly, there was supposed to be a certain allowance of how much food that, villagers are allowed to have. It was just they weren't allowed to stockpile excessive amounts. And what's more, they were interfering with the distribution of reserves. The Soviets had a system where they would take most of the food and they would redistribute it to the local communities. They would take the food from the collective farms and redistribute to the local communities. There were still private farms that they didn't just take food from. They would buy it with long-term contracts. I think they might have been forced purchase agreements, but the farmers didn't have the option not to sell their food. They didn't want to give farmers the power of creating a famine, ironically. But anyways, let's grab water expansion here. Shoot, I kind of forgot about this expert. Well, Delta Papa is about to finish marketing agencies. Oh no, surprise attack. Send it here. I'm still trying to store that insurgent camp. That surprise attack means I'll need coalition troops in a jiffy. Yeah, I know the insurgent camp was destroyed. So, anyway, so local officials confiscated more food than they were supposed to. They sometimes shot farmers who had been found guilty of confiscation, which the crime for that was not death. It was supposed to be, that they would go to prison, to the gulags, which is still a harsh punishment, but arbitrary execution was extra legal even for the Soviet system. So yeah, there was a genocide. It just wasn't carried out by the central government. It was carried out by local officials and police and secret services who, like the intelligence agencies, who were acting beyond legal means, and some of them faced the death penalty for their crimes. So it was recognized it was wrong. Of course, that doesn't do any good for the victims, and the punishments were sometimes not harsh enough. People got slaps on the wrist for what they should have. A few people were executed for causing, thousands of deaths. Some of the worst offenders received the death penalty, but a lot of them just got a slap on the wrist. People were more politically connected. So yeah, it's a nasty episode in history. But here we are in the U.S. now, and we're cutting off SNAP benefits, and that's going to lead to mass starvation, a completely artificial famine in the country. So apparently we haven't learned from history. I don't know. It probably won't be nearly as bad as, Ukraine in the 1930s was? Yeah, 30s, early 30s. So my long COVID, I don't always remember dates of things, even when I should. Combat sensors, I'm going to need it here. This fight's going poorly. Oh, of course, the drone goes there instead. Okay. Need to push out some national troops, and I'll need anti-corruption soon. It's all that darn unofficial procurement. We have a huge problem. Let's grab anti-corruption now. I may have to intentionally sacrifice the experts to rebels so they stop generating corruption. Put them at a frontline area and watch them get killed. Just brutal, and I hate doing it, but at this point they're a net negative. So I'm here. This is a little bit risky area. Take a risk, and if they die, they die, and if they survive, they survive. Probably shouldn't go too brutal. It just doesn't feel right, obviously. Rapid romance that went up to $9. It was only $8. Huh? Rotation, I said maintenance for some reason. So anyways, they retook that? While there's coalition troops in the zone. What? Okay. No, if I pull out of here, they'll retake the zone. These guys need to stay put. Ooh, garrison. Okay, no, actually, they can move on then. Garrison can be used to slow recapture of the zone with security checkpoints. Eventually. Actually need more anti-corruption first. I'm losing a lot of rep due to corruption. But yeah, people are overweight. Don't need as many calories. That is true, but they still need nutrients. They need, fresh vegetables. They need calcium from, dairy. They need protein or they'll suffer malnutrition. You can feed someone tons of rice and get plenty of calories, but if they don't have enough protein, they'll still suffer malnutrition. And indeed, even people who didn't starve to death, Ukraine in the event I was talking about, some of those who survived were suffering severe malnutrition. The human cost of a famine isn't just the death toll. It's the suffering, it's the malnutrition, it's a whole bunch of other things. I am, for those who aren't aware, I'm a Marxist. I'm not a Marxist-Leninist, and, you know, I'm aware the Soviets did some horrendous stuff. Despite all their many, many crimes, the U.S. did horrendous things during the Cold War as well, and the world would be better off if the Soviet Union was still around, if only for no other reason than that the U.S. was on its best behavior during the Cold War, because it had to look good to the rest of the world, had to not have its own people want to turn to socialism, so it treated its people better. People think like, oh, the golden age after World War II, that was because of, I don't know, America being white or some racist shit. No, it was because the Soviets were around as competition. But of course, that's definitely not something that you will see right-wingers want to acknowledge, even though it's true. It's only 9 rep to, even with violent ambushes, I could extend easily enough. Surgeon activity is a huge problem. I guess I'll need to do it. But I'll delay it because it affects funding. I can get more funding in before I lose the rep. With an extension. More anti-corruption at this point. But yeah, there are strategies. I'm on SNAP myself because I'm disabled on COVID, unable to work. So I'm not just speaking down to people or something. I'm saying this experience. There are strategies where you can buy stuff like rice, beans, potatoes. They're very cheap calories, and you can buy healthy fruits and vegetables. I need to retake this town. Most Americans actually get more fruit than they need, so it's not actually fruit people need. Fruit is sugars and certain nutrients, but people usually get excess amounts of those nutrients, and so it's just sugar. It tastes better, but it's actually veggies that people need most, not fruit. Gotta retake some land from insurgents. They've hurt my reputation far too much already. Boom. So that this lasts a little longer, hopefully. All that support and they're still not winning? Gah! I can do this. -2 funding. It's not going to be a big deal. I'll need an airstrike then. Hopefully it doesn't hurt the town. Oh. Okay, they're doing okay without airstrikes. Need that after all. Next up, Foreign Relations Office. I'm probably gonna get that event soon. The one where foreign rival supporting insurgents. So I'm just saving up the money for a Foreign Relations Office. Surge activity is a problem. On the plus side, I'm about to stabilize a zone. Let's scrap this now. -1 funds isn't a big deal. Trying to keep an eye on this. As soon as this is done, I'm going to send the development team elsewhere. Got enough for... oh, need electricity here. I'll do that because they can unofficial procurement electricity. Boom. Clean water supplies rise dramatically. Need to keep advancing. Probably don't want coalition troops in town. Drives hostility, and there's a lot of people in town. Yep, definitely build garrison here. But yeah, besides buying like rice and potatoes, oatmeal, I guess on the same vein, you can buy 8 pounds of oatmeal on Amazon for $10, and Amazon has extended its reach of warehouses across most of the United States, so most people can get the, or in range where they can get the free delivery. And this is not going to win quickly, but whatever. Probably pull some of these coalition troops back. I don't need them all right now. Oh, never mind. These guys need to finish this fight quickly so I can send them home. Okay. Just have to threaten insurgents. The other two are not great right now. And power supply lines have been upgraded. Cool. Send these guys home. Boost my support level, because coalition troops hurt your support. Can't afford another hit to rep. Pretty sure I can do this now. These guys are keeping them somewhat nearby in case they... We need to go around here. It's not going to be long until... Stop in that green zone for a moment. These are highways. Need to upgrade highways. Clearly. Transport times are much, much too long. High desertion rate among national soldiers. I can bed coalition troops if I pull in more of them. That might be worth it. I think I only need 2 coalition troops because I only have 2 national. Could be 3. Deficit spending. I should be able to muster enough coalition. Might need to deploy these guys. Bet coalition troops significantly, increase national soldier strength some more, and increase in pay, decrease coalition soldier strength. Deploy coalition soldiers within national soldier units to make up missing numbers. And I guess this theoretically means kind of there's always coalition troops in the area, even after most of the pure coalition units withdrawn. Which is historically accurate to, I forget if it was Iraq or Afghanistan where that tactic was used. Where got to be a lot of the coalition troops there were actually in units embedded instead of operating independently. Oh shoot. Oh, that's done. Power concern. Oh. Camp somewhere around here. Oh, there's a camp. They're in the green zone, of all places. Great, and I can't really cover up that airstrike. I could downplay it. Might increase corruption, though. Oh, I'm not losing that much to corruption. I'll wait, though, for corruption to come down a little. I'll probably downplay. Should probably pull these guys back. I'll need more troops to deal with this. Not denying it, but downplaying it. I do it for time. 30-ish minutes. I should consider ending this unless I want to have to cut it in 2. And there's the splitting tactics coming in. sniper support. Deal with this group and then the mountains. This should be, that did increase corruption. It's alright. Avoids the support loss due to doing an apology. Maybe there's hardliners in the government who don't like apologizing for anything. I don't know. So we're in the Soviet Union where there was resistance to, when you had perestroika happen, there was still resistance to apologizing for past crimes. Let's prepare land for refugees. The sniper support should be able to deal with these guys, though. Probably can't stop it from being captured. Nope. Mobile phone network see seismic growth. I can't keep affording the risk of civilian casualties, so precision munitions. Cool. This guy's home now. Taking that area back from the insurgents. Well, I mean, it's technically, you know, their land. They were here first. Like that, I'm losing the PR battle. Alright. Good time to cut this. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Take care of each other. Be kind to yourselves. And may you always find a guiding star to lead on. Adieu. Best luck to you all.